Just gotta make that correction.
Yep.
Smoochin. Not a smoochin, but smoochin.
So I was just telling George, Gary, so the stuff that we proposed. That. Yes, what's that?
We're in,
We good?
we're in.
All right. So this is the June 22nd Public Works Board Committee meeting. I am, we're gonna go around the room. We have a quorum. I'm Gary Parnagan.
Tyler Cragston, Commissioner of Public Works.
George Croner, member.
Tiffany Martin, ADA Coordinator and Mayoral Aide.
Terrific. One of the things that I have committed to do, and I've been completed, which is review the minutes for the first couple of, meetings this year. And I want to review those with Linda, before, bombing her in a meeting with this. Couple of things that I do like that put some clarifications in there. So I'm gonna put that on hold if that's okay with everybody. I think the real key issue for tonight is under old business is, last, meeting, you had identified a number of, situations that were going to be reviewed for potential targeting of work. And, how did that go?
Very good. So we had a couple walkthroughs with a couple different individuals at different times. We looked at a bunch of work that coordinated with the work that we had previously done with tying in some of the curbs for ADA. We're also thinking, keeping in mind, tying in the municipality buildings as well through a lot of the cross streets from state to Union. So with that said, we have identified 2, 4, 6, 10, 11 different parcels. And when I say a parcel, that's from an alley to one of the main streets, east to west in Hudson. So we're looking at North Fifth between Columbia and Warren, which is 2 parcels on the west side. Then we're looking at North Fifth between Columbia and Long, which is 1 parcel across from the library, east side. The South Third Street between Warren and Union is 2 parcels, which would help tie in the Boys Club, Boys and Girls Club. Both sides of Fifth Street between State and Columbia, which ends up being 4 parcels. North Sixth Street, State and Prospect, which is 2 parcels on the west side. And then, so that got us to about 11, which I think we can hit our target with, what we've received in revenue this year. And then we also are gonna add 2 alternates in the RFP so that we can get a bid back on that. So that if the bid does come in under, under our mark, that we can possibly add another 3 parcels. Those are South Fifth between Warren and Union and South Third between Union and Partition, both west sides of the city. So I talked with the mayor about this and the mayor's aide this morning. All looks pretty good for us to print out a map and have Gary submit to the common council. I think, we're kind of getting, we're running a little late, so we'd like to get this RFP out on the street to get some contractors to look at it. So we can at least get some work done this year. And just, keep the progress moving forward.
Is the, creation of the RFP, being worked on or ready?
We have not started working on anything yet, and I guess I'm gonna change the term. It would have to be a full public bid based on the value of work. RFPs would be under a certain threshold. This will exceed that, so, it'll be a full bid package based on the amount of work. So similar to what we did last year, but different from the first round of some small intersection work. We have a pretty good template together for general municipal contracts, so that part wouldn't be too difficult. It's mostly, the biggest piece of it is really making sure the locations are correct for what the city would like to do. I think I said this to Tyler, the bid documents themselves can be pulled together relatively quickly once we are confident in the locations, so.
Can I get a motion to, that we, approve that Crawford and Associates begin the process of putting a bid together?
Motion.
Okay.
All in favor of it? Okay.
Would you like a task authorization to have for that work? Do you want to just use under our general as needed services? How do you want to proceed, like services on our end to kind of include that in contracted scope?
Yeah, I personally view it as a continuation of the services that you've been providing. I don't think we have we gone off into any special agreements for similar situations?
The only reason why we did it the last time was because we needed to do a budget amendment at that point anyways, so, that was kind of unique in that situation, but again, we can continue to work on it as needed, and this is part of it, just wanted to be clear if the city had preferences on some of those things.
Sounds good.
It's good. The only other thing that I have is there were a total of 12 submittals for credits this year. All the 12 were approved. We worked with the clerk the last week and beginning of this week so far. She's currently printing out the letters. We'll be signing and sending them out this week. So there were no denials. Everybody submitted the correct stuff. And it was, just work that they did. We're all set on that end as well.
Do you want to do some sort of an announcement, letting people know about these, segments of sidewalk that have been chosen, or do you think it's better for us to wait?
Should we wait for the common council to approve?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just for the politics of it.
Okay, so the council has to approve the streets that are being worked on, even though the sidewalk improvement district has already been enacted by the council?
The budget has to be approved, the expenditure.
Okay, so, I got you. Okay, so even though the funds are set aside and a SID account, it's, okay, sorry, gotcha.
Okay, good. The only other thing that, I think, well, I'm gonna check it, whether it's pressing or not, is, the issue of if a veteran, and I guess by extension also a firefighter, if they own multiple properties, whether or not, there's, the exemption extends to all of their properties. That is a question that, I've asked the president of the common council to bounce that up to the attorney. I haven't gotten a response yet, but that's what it's gonna take, I think, is, what does the law say right now? Or at least that's our interpretation of it. And, there might very well need a clarification, in modifying the law, but, let's see where we stand right now.
Very good. I believe we spoke about this a couple times. I think when we ran the report, there's, because you said firefighters as well. I'm not sure on the firefighter end, but I think there's only 2 properties in the city.
So in what the county provides us a list of veterans that are listed with them, so we're using that list to be clear. There were 2 individual instances where a veteran owns a residential property, which is the property class 200, and a separate property of a property class in the 300s, which would be vacant property. There's another, I think, 2 instances, which I believe one has a junior after the name, so I'm not sure if it's the same person or not. But there's another instance where it's like a 400 property class, which is commercial or multifamily or something like that. So I think there was 6 total instances, or 6 or 8. And like I said, only 2 of them were in the situation where it's a 200 series parcel and a 300 would be vacant, so.
So like at the end of the day, we're talking about pennies. Right.
Yeah.
Can we just double check for the firefighter end as well?
Yeah, I believe that stuff is separate, but I'll just verify it, and then, yeah, we can check it out.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
Just so that we know, we're really,
I don't know why we haven't done it.
right.
I mean, what's everyone's feeling on it?
I feel that, like your primary residence should be your credit. And then if you have something extra, then, then you have to pay.
I liken it to the short-term rental law, right? Where if it's owner occupied, it's one thing. If it's not owner occupied, it's a completely different thing in terms of how many days you can rent your house out for the year.
And then like in a, open property, which is say it again, is a 100 class,
Vacant land is in the 300.
300 class, you know, it ends up being like a $30 fee.
It could be 50 as well, like it's a.
Yeah, it's really,
Yeah, I think it more is what's fair.
yep,
You
I get
know,
it.
what's the intent? You know, actually, you know, but yeah, you're right, there's not much revenue here that we're talking about.
So either way, goes either way, it's not gonna stop us from doing our work.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the wheels are not gonna.
Let's get that right, Peter.
Yeah.
I guess to that extent, or to that point, Gary, I just wanted to bring up the fact that, you know, we've pretty much wrapped up the file for 2026, circulated to the board. We need to get that to the county by July 1st.
Yeah.
So just trying to make sure everyone sees that. Actually, based on, I'm assuming there's been some new developments, some parcel probably got created, or a few projects with the planning boards and things like that. So the actual total is actually up to $315,000 from, it was like 308 or something like that last year. So there's been some additional value brought into the SIP. As well as a few properties probably came off of credit and then, you know, adding the new ones in. So on that file that I circulated, the first sheet has a summary and that lists, you know, all the properties in the city, kind of explains how many are getting credit, what type of lot some may be, if they're exempt or not. And then it also gives a breakdown of, you know, where the money's coming from. And the largest one is the annual maintenance fee. That's $229,000 of it. So to Tyler's point, there's some other pieces in those that, you know, that applies to certain properties, not all. So.
So who does that? Who submits that to the county?
So what we
I'm
have,
talking about a week.
so it's all ready, and so we reached out to the county from our office already to make sure we have the formatting set up correctly. I know last year there was a slight issue with rounding. It gets figured out very quickly, but we sent, last year we sent a test file, like the first 100 or a random 100. We'll probably do the same thing this week, just as a test. But as long as the board is fine with the file, we'll kick that in as well. There's no more credit applications that came in. So we can submit that pretty much whenever and, get that going.
Okay.
And then Gary, do you need a copy of that printed again? I know last year we had a conversation about, printing the assessments and things like that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So if the board wants to maybe another day or two of taking a look at that file before we give Ryan the go ahead?
I mean, we can take the end of the week if you guys would like. There's no, I mean, or the weekend, say Monday morning, that still gives us even a day or so if there were changes.
Yeah, I think it's Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
The first, okay.
So even if it's this time next week, we'd be fine to make that.
Okay. Anything else?
I don't have anything else.
I wanted to thank Brian for being so patient and doing these walkarounds and looking at sidewalks all over the city.
Yes.
Thank-
Value, good work.
Indeed,
We haven't done much work yet. We got a lot to do.
there's a lot more.
There's a lot of work that goes into just prepping for this stuff. Oh, yes, there is a lot.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Right. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, we forgot that.
The public can speak, right?
Public can speak.
Yes, please, our apologies. We're back in session.
Forget about us public now. Hey, I'm wondering if the board, somebody on the board, well, the entire board has come to an opinion about the work that Vosberg did last year. Like, are you guys happy with it? Not happy, neutral, anything?
I'm sorry, the work that who did?
Vosberg,
Related to the DRI.
right?
No, it's not here.
They did sidewalk work for you last year, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard there's any problems.
Okay, so you're happy with the work they did? Because I can tell
Yeah.
you that it's already coming apart over here at Sixth and State, Sixth and Rope Alley. I sent you guys pictures of the cracks in the asphalt, and if you walk over to Columbia and Sixth, where they did 2 or 3 corners, you can see where it's coming apart over there too. Anyway, I just hope that they don't win the bid that comes around for continued work. I'd like to put my vote in that those guys do not come back to this city and work, because I don't even think they had any experience doing concrete work. That's all I'll say about that. What I'd like to add, here's my concern, if you'd like to hear it. I'll give you 2 examples of what I hope not to see in the future for this work, for your work, for the work all over the city to repair the sidewalks that need it so badly. Last year, Colarusso was hired, maybe 2 years ago, hired to do the Ferry Street Bridge. They created 2 sidewalks on the bridge, and within a month, they started to crack. If you go over there now, you'll see cracked sidewalks up and down over the bridge. Okay? Now, you got to wonder, like, what happened? Well, I know exactly what happened, actually, because they poured that concrete in the dead of winter when they shouldn't have. I don't know why they would have. Nobody was paying attention, and that, I think, would be Rob Perry, or maybe the commissioner of DPW. I don't know who's supposed to be paying attention to these things, but somebody from the city needs to pay attention. Now, the same thing happened with the DRI work. You go to the top of the 2nd Street stairs, and there's a huge crack there. Well, what's going to happen with that? Is that going to be ignored? And now we have the DRI stonework on Front Street, at 2nd and Warren. It all had to be redone. Why? Well, apparently nobody from the city was paying attention what that contractor was doing. And I guess I'm wondering, how are we going to avoid this for the next few years as we try to repair all the city's sidewalks? Who's going to be overseeing these contractors to make sure they're doing a good job and that their work doesn't start cracking right away, or cracking within a year, or crumbling apart, or them doing poor work? I guess, like, is this something that the board has considered? That somebody's actually going to have a pair of eyes, at least a pair of eyes, watching these guys, what they do, that their work is up to par? Because I see it all the time around here. We get work done, we pay for it, it's just not good work. And I'd like to include Vosburgh in that. So could I get a comment, just like a reassurance that all this effort you guys are making and all the work that's going to happen in these contractors, that there's going to be some oversight, and it's going to be done properly and something we can be proud of for decades?
So I'll comment on that. As it pertains to the work that we focus on, which is the SID, Sidewalk Improvement District, which is all of the city. We have a project manager on this job. We have a commissioner that is on this board and is actively involved with the work of this board. And we have the mayor's assistant who's focused on the ADA, which is really the impetus of this board. So I think we have the right people on the board. I can assure you that they are engaged and are accountable. And I think the real key here, and it's a lesson that can be learned and applied elsewhere, is that we have a project manager that is overseeing this work. And I think that is making all the difference. Now, we can look at the Vosburgh work, but for the most part, yeah, I feel very comfortable with the team we have in place, and to the best of that team's ability, the work done by the subcontractors.
Okay, so is the project manager or somebody from the city going to be actually out there overseeing the work as it's being done?
No, that's not our role.
That's not your role. So you're gonna hire a contractor to fix sidewalks and nobody from the city or Ryan Ryan's the project manager, is that correct?
Crawford and Associates, is the project manager, yes.
So Gary, you're telling me nobody's gonna be standing at least for a few minutes every day to watch what's being done on our sidewalks as they're repaired?
I don't think that's a standard, practice.
Okay, well, that's astounding to me, considering what I've seen around town, but I'd like to just bring up one other thing if I could. I just heard that mention of the certain parcels that are on high on the list, that you priorities, I guess, that you want to do. Okay, am I to understand that you're gonna fix certain really bad portions of sidewalk, like over here at Sixth and Rope, but you're not going to do the entire block? Because as I understand it, it seems like what we need to do is do a block at a time. We don't want to do a half a block, a one parcel that's really bad, and leave the other half, other portion of the sidewalk to do later. Don't we want to do do it all at once per block so that everything is uniform and we're not doing like, here's a bad sidewalk, and here's a really bad sidewalk, so we'll finish this one first. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, what's the approach going forward for the next few years? Are you going to do it block by block or parcel by parcel?
No, we are actually going to do parcel by parcel. There is no reason for us to rip up sidewalk that is, already ADA compliant. We are trying to tie in the municipality buildings with just the revenue that we have currently. Would we love to do block by block and rip up and make it all look brand new? Of course, but with the revenue that we have to, justify and take everything into consideration where, if there's a piece of a sidewalk that is, 80% okay, we're not gonna, rip it up. We're gonna try to tie in the pieces that aren't and work to have, a lot of these sidewalks, able for people to get around. And then once we get through the entire city, if we can go back and do things like that, I think that's more of a wish item than a, reality.
So everybody's paying $100 a year or whatever the SID tax is or the fee, so that just the worst of the worst sidewalk can get done?
That's the start of it.
That's what the budget allows.
I mean, all right, whatever. Hey, here's my last question, I promise. How many years do you foresee this taking place over? How many years? I mean, it's not going to happen within 1 year, right?
Of course not. There's only approximately $300,000 worth of revenue that comes in every year. So we use that to, put back into the city.
So it's an ongoing thing. It never ends.
Yeah, I mean, sidewalks that are, that comply today with the ADA standards, in 5 years, 10 years, may or may not. And so, yeah, it's gonna be a continuous process.
And it's going to be overseen by a contractor, an engineering firm that we have to pay, not a city employee, right?
Seems to be the best, approach, at this point in time.
Yeah. I can tell you that you guys are emulating this on the City of Ithaca's efforts, and they actually hired somebody who's the sidewalk person, permanently. It just seems like that's the way to go, more accountability, and probably over the long run, it's cheaper than paying a contractor, but that's just my take on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
You were very generous to that gentleman.
Any other questions, comments? Make a motion to adjourn.
Again. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Ryan?